Maybe because we're going live. Wait, you're still muted.
There we go. Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Listen, you've been on my list to call.
Have I?
I'm so proud of you.
Thank
I
you.
am like, this is amazing. So, for those of you who might be just joining us, welcome to the Wednesday call with your host, Felicia Saraceno. We are so grateful to have some amazing folks who are on our platform, but sometimes they just don't join the live calls
That's me.
because they're busy doing business and then they watch them. I am so excited that Kelly Wentworth joined us this morning. So I met Kelly, oh, geez, probably what, a year and a half ago or something like
Yeah.
that, a year ago, it's been a while. And she is one of our counterparts up in the north part of Florida by Cocoa Beach. And she's a greedy girl, and just like I am, which is awesome. And she's been wanting to get into this niche for a little while. And you just had your first event the other day. Tell us how it went.
It was amazing. So I can't stand public speaking. It scares the bejesus out of me. And
Yeah.
I managed to meet. I've partnered with some amazing women. I have a move manager slash downsizer, a placement specialist, and a mental health counsel therapist. And so those ladies, we came together. We formed a Facebook group that we call Grace and Grit, and it's
That's
we're
how
kind of
Grace
focusing
can
on
work
the
with it.
sandwich generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had our first event last week where we focused on the fact that November's National Caregivers Month.
Yep.
And so we did an event with the caregivers and it went really well. I survived my 5 to 7 minutes. And what was really great is all the people I got to talk to afterwards. I made a lot of connections, including a woman who her and her mom own a small scale assisted living community. And she came up to me, she says, my husband is a realtor. And she
Mm-hmm.
goes, he hates doing these transactions, the referrals from the people moving into her community. And he said, he hates them. And he goes, it wasn't until you explained it that I realized why. And she goes, he doesn't have the patience for it. And I realized hearing you that it takes a very special type of person to do this.
Yeah, it does.
So that
You're
was pretty cool.
That's amazing. And so I put the name of the Facebook group that you have, Grace and
Hmm.
Grit. That's amazing in the chat. I don't know if you allow people from outside to join.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I should have asked you that before, so I'm
No, we're
sorry.
fine.
Um, do many of you have a Facebook group that y'all are working that through, that you're the owner of? Okay. So I have one. It's a hyper local one, where I post things that are happening in the area, from who's doing happy hours to restaurant openings to retiree places that are opening 55 and over, new assisted livings. I put all of my real estate stuff up on there. I allow others, including other realtors, to post their open houses in there as well. And then other services that seniors can use. Like I have a smart home watch that posts a lot, really, really great information. Um, a limo service back and forth to the airport, because a lot of our seniors don't want to drive, and this is snowbird season that we have happening down here. And then there's a few others. But those just to name a couple. And if you don't have a Facebook group that you own, you could still provide value to an outside Facebook group. Does that make sense? And the good thing about it is it doesn't take a lot of effort for you to be able to give knowledge away that you are an expert within this field. So one of the things that I do is I'm part of like the Naples Moms group. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter, but there are questions that come up in there all the time that says, I'm moving my mom into, they always say nursing home. which if y'all follow me, nursing home is not a thing anymore. It is skilled nursing, rehab, or long-term care. But when they say nursing home, they don't know the difference between independent assisted memory care or long-term care. So just understand that the general public doesn't have that differentiator, okay? And so they'll start asking questions. And what I see is people are like, oh, I'm going through the same thing. Oh, I just placed my mom somewhere. Or I just had her move in here. Oh, you should call this person or you should call that person. What if you had a guide that you could just drop in where you now became the expert and said, hey, I have this free guide. I could drop it in. You could use it as a lead magnet where they have to sign up with their name and email address. You could offer it to free to the Facebook groups that you have, but on that guide, only offer like maybe the top 3 or 5 where it's on a pretty downloadable guide. And then here's a QR code for the extended list. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you're giving some information away because you've got to establish yourself. They don't know you yet. And you got to establish yourself as the person who is elevating this niche, elevating this service of selling someone's longtime home. And sometimes they're first time home sellers, as we know. Sometimes they've sold 7 or 8 homes before, but it's probably going to be their last transition that they make. So on average, my average client is in their early 80s right now. They don't want to move. They know they have to move. They know they can't keep up on the home anymore, right? They know that all the things that are happening, the tax bill just went up. That's getting ready to get paid down here in our area in Florida. They know roof's going to have to be replaced in a few years. That's going to cost them tens of thousands of dollars. They know that there's going to be all these things that are on their plate, but they're just overwhelmed at how to start the process. So as you are thinking about what you can do and how you can bring value in your community, I want you to really, really think about this and think about things that off of the top of your head could be really helpful. And so when it comes time to seeing, and you can go into these Facebook groups, search for keywords, like put in seniors, see what pops up. Put in downsizing or right sizing, 55 and over. These are tips for you all, and I hope y'all are writing them down right now for you to go and see which group you need to pay more attention to. Social media is way more than just posting 2 to 3 times a day, every day of the week. And social media for right now is free, 100% free. You don't need to pay to post. You don't need to pay to join a Facebook, Instagram platform. Facebook, Instagram is where your clients are. Instagram is more for the adult child. Facebook is really for the senior themselves, and the adult children are on there as well. And that sandwich generation. So when you're thinking about this, and I see a lot of folks say, well, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. Think about just something as simple as 10 minutes a day that you spend nurturing your social media. So we can't post and ghost, meaning you can't just throw things up and not interact. That's not the way the algorithm works. The algorithm works when you want to post something, go on your feed, start liking things, sharing things to your story, make comments, and I've been told now it's up to 5 words or more. on people's page, like on people's posts that they write, so that you start showing up in their feed. And this should be part of your lead gen. How many y'all lead gen every day? You could write it in the chat. Got to open the chat so I can see it. I'm sure y'all do some sort of lead gen every day. Just admitting one more person. No one lead gens? No one wrote anything in the chat. Or my computer is slow. So I'm hoping y'all lead gen every day. And you should block off a minimum of 2 hours a day for lead gen. Now, in normal real estate terms, your lead gen in your mind as a real estate agent, well, in my mind, is what? What do you think? Shout it out or write it in the Facebook group. Making calls. Yep. And that's cold calls. Was that expireds, FISBOs, past clients, current clients, all of the above? Who do you think that is? Your sphere of influence? Okay. All. Yep. So making calls, you need to throw in one more category. So when you work in this industry with seniors, if you all have taken my Building Your Referral Network course, you know that I have 70 referral partners. They're within my industry. They're people who I have built relationships with over the past 5 years. Now, out of those 70 people, about 20% of them refer to me on a regular basis. And so what I do is I take all my referral partners. These are people that Paul has been teaching you for who you want to be on your board of directors. And I have a whole class on this if you're part of our membership on how to break it down. But I'm going to go and we're going to do the fast version right now. And I'm part of a senior niche or a senior industry networking group. We have 127 members. Out of those 127 members, 70 of them are on my partners list. Why? Because there's more than one person from the same company there. Or perhaps it's an industry that is just doesn't cohabitate with what I'm doing. I have them written down on a spreadsheet to track. Have I connected with them about building reciprocal partnerships? When was the last time they gave me a referral? When was the last time I gave them a referral? When did I Google review them? Facebook review? Did they review me? When was the last time we had coffee or lunch? What pop buys am I doing to keep myself top of mind? And then how often our team is going around to just meet with them on a quarterly basis and keeping us and bringing in our rack cards, which are our calling card. My rack card is my business card. And I drop my rack cards off to them, right? I drop my rack cards off to them, not in large quantities, in small quantities, probably like this many. And I bring them because guess what? As me being in the senior living industry for as long as I have been, I'm your cheat sheet. I'm your insider trader. I'm your former executive director, right? If I dropped off a stack of 50 to them, they're never going to call me. But when they say, hey, Felicia, I only have a couple of rack cards left, I get to pop by. We get to have a conversation, ask the senior living community, hey, how's census going? What size rooms do you have open? Oh, do you have a 2-bedroom open? Do you have a 1-bedroom? Do you have a studio apartment? Like, what do you have? What's going on? How's census going in the community? So if you're not familiar with senior living, census is how many heads and beds, how many people they have living there. And so you want to ask that question because you need to know how many they have to fill. That's going to preemptively help you determine how you're going to partner with them. So if they say, geez, we're sitting at 75% occupancy, that should be the light bulb that goes off in your head to say, oh, we need to do an event here. Holidays are coming up. How can we do an event? What type of events can we do? Can you do a fun, like take a picture with Santa and your family event? Can you do a senior scams that happen during the holidays right now? Because that's a big one. And that's the easy, low hanging fruit where you, as the real estate agent, like I do, tell people how to vet people coming into your home, vendors, right? Electricians, contractors, how to make sure that they're safe coming in your home. What are the stats for title fraud that happen in your market? There's a whole laundry list of things that you can do on senior scams surrounding the home, and partner with someone who does more than just that, especially like our police department, our sheriff's department has someone who does this as well. So they talk about at a high level what's happening with seniors and the scams and the romance scams and everything that's happening. You're talking on the senior niche side of the home. So see how like he stands out or they stand out on what's happening, but then you're complementing what is happening with the home, because your expertise lies in selling that home. Every time I do a senior scam event, I get at least 2 listing appointments out of it. And I don't talk about real estate, I talk about the home. And they see me as an expert within that market. That's just an example as to what you can do. Now, this is prime opportunity. No matter where you live in the US, every single holiday season, senior living communities fill up. Ask me how I know. I know because I've been in the industry as an executive director and a sales director. And this is why. And you could write this down if you want to, because I'm going to give you some nuggets of gold. Most seniors can fake what is happening within their life on a 10 to 15-minute call. Hey, mom, how's it going? Mom says, oh, it's great, honey. I just went to the doctor's. Today I went to the store. I picked up these groceries, blah, 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 blah. It's surface level. When they come to visit their parents during Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever you celebrate, Kwanzaa, they open those cupboards and they see how bare they are. They walk around the house and see how dirty it is. They look at mom's appearance or dad's appearance and see that they've been in unwashed clothes for several days with stains on them. These are all actual things that I have experienced within moving almost 400 seniors to senior living in my lifetime. Okay. The daughter and the son freak out. It's a true story. And they go, how are you doing this? Who's your friends? When's the last time you saw your friends? And they start noticing how their life has diminished and that they have gone into isolation. And it could be because it's getting icy outside and they don't want to drive. It could be because it's getting cold outside and the seasons change. Seniors like it warm. It's a fact. It doesn't matter what state I've lived in. I'm from Connecticut. Those rooms were at 80 degrees with the heat on. And down here in Florida, their rooms were still at 80 degrees when it was 100 outside. Okay. They like it warm. So what we see is the adult child starts to notice these changes that have happened with mom and dad in their decline. And maybe they have MCI, mild cognitive impairment, and they just got diagnosed. And they're like, mom, we should start thinking about independent living. We should start exploring this. This is the key time. Don't miss the opportunity, my friends, to go and build those partnerships with senior living. If you were on the call on Friday, Corey live called, and you could watch it on the YouTube page because I just rewatched it. He live called the senior living community for one of our members, and they made an appointment right then and there for a professional tour. I could tell you that every salesperson in senior living has to do a certain amount of professional tours every month as part of their quota for their corporate office. I know it because I did it. Take the opportunity to take advantage of the holiday season to help them and be top of mind. Let them know what you do. Make sure you practice your 30-second elevator speech. You can't be 5 minutes into what you do to help seniors, okay? It's got to be a couple of sentences, short, to the point. Take your bio, put it into Perplexity, Chat, Gemini, and say, hey, narrow this down to a 30-second elevator speech for me. Like, let's go. Use those tools to your advantage, not to do the work for you, okay? And when you go there, make sure you have some brochures with you. Seniors can't read a business card. The font's too small. Font size, I teach all my agents when they do one-on-one coaching with me and building your rack card, font size has to be 14 points or higher. They can't read it. And so there's a lot of different tips and tricks from me being in the industry that I share with you on that. But take that opportunity to introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself if you haven't been there in the past quarter. Build that relationship and start building that referral of waterfalls of referrals. So I'll tell you something that happened to me last week. So my team is expanding because as you all know, I run a small team down here in Southwest Florida. There are 3 of us. And there's 95 senior living communities to go visit. Well, guess what? All 3 of us can't visit 95 communities, right? It's kind of impossible. So I went to go visit a community that I had moved in a senior to, and we're selling her condo. Well, unfortunately, she did pass away, and they were emptying out her unit. And the son was like, was there anything that you need for the home to round out the semi-furnished condo that we have? I said, I'm looking for the bistro table that used to be there. Can I bring it back? Because it just makes the kitchen look complete. He said, yeah, no problem. So I go there. All the sales girls are in the office, which is like a rare occurrence in this community. They're all very, very busy. So I had all 4 of us together. And we were chatting, we were talking about their census because they have IL, AL, and memory care. And we were chatting away. And I said, yes, I'm here for Mrs. So-and-so. I don't remember where her room is. Can someone just walk me to it? I'm going to pick up the table and chairs. They said, yeah. One of the girls says to me, Felicia, I have a referral for you. And I've never gotten a referral from this person in 3 years that I've known her. And I know she's a real estate agent, and I always offer her a referral fee. And I said, oh, I'd love to help your client. What's their name? How can I help? What's the situation, right? He needs to sell before he moves in. He really wants to be in contract before he moves in, so he has some peace of mind. Okay, great. He wants to sell during the holidays. We'll see what we can do, right? It's just a tough time. It doesn't matter what market you're in. Selling during the holidays is need driven, okay? So, sorry, I just got text messages. So she tells me this. I'm like, oh, this is so wonderful. Let's see what happens. Normally, I prefer a text or email intro with that client, but I was on short notice. So I said, all right, let's follow up later. Let's get a call together so we can, do an intro properly. She was like, yeah, no problem. He called me that day and he said, hey, I was referred to you by XYZ community. Do you know Mary? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I knew his name already. We ended up chatting. He actually grew up in and lived in the town in Connecticut where I lived briefly and my grandparents lived. And he knew the company that my grandfather worked at. So it's like we automatically built that reciprocation, right? We started to build that bond. And I now am going to be listing his home. We're going to be signing paperwork and getting that on the market right after Christmas because we have some downsizing to do inside. Okay. Had I not gone into that community that day, I can guarantee you I would have not gotten that referral. Because like I had mentioned before, I've known this person as a sales director for 3 years and never got one referral from them. So if you think about this, as you build these relationships as you are going and talking about reciprocal referral partners with them, how are you asking them how to build your business and you making sure that you're asking questions to build theirs? Paul talks about it. It sounds so simple, but this is the time of year to do it because the most seniors convert during the holidays. It is your prime opportunity. It's just sitting there, low hanging fruit for you right now to just go in and pluck. On average, in my area, they are moving 8 to 10 people in a month to a senior living community. Now, if I'm not getting at least one referral from one of those places, I'm doing something wrong. So when you're doing your calls in the morning, make sure at least, and I don't know, let's just say there are, for round numbers, there are 24 communities in your marketplace, okay? You should be calling at least one of those a day, if not two. Building a partnership, we're not asking for much. Building a partnership with them, building a relationship. On the flip side, for other folks that work in the senior industry, senior move managers, senior placement agents, your elder law attorneys, you should be throwing at least one of those in a day as well. We're not asking you to go overwhelm and say, hey, you got to call 5 a day and try and set appointments because you're going to be like, I can't do it. And when you do talk about let's set appointments, let's be ultra clear. Y'all know that I time block. My Wednesday afternoons is in the community. I do that on purpose, and it has been because since I've worked in senior living, even when I was an executive director, my afternoons on Wednesday was in the community. And so for me, it's just ingrained that I block that time out and I say to them, hey, I could meet with you this Wednesday at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. What works for you? And then if they go, that doesn't, let's go to the following week. And I block them out. Don't run yourself ragged where you're going, well, I have time on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because you need time for follow-up. And whatever you say you're going to follow up on, make sure you do it within the time frame that you gave it to them. This is just a different way for you to lead gen. Most of the time, people like to lead gen in the morning, but when you're going to senior living communities, it is most likely going to be easier for you to visit them in the afternoon. Their morning is lead genning and following up on their census quotas. So you're going to probably see that happen. So questions or thoughts? I explained it that well. You all understood my madness? Is anyone intimidated by doing this?
So I don't know if I'm intimidated or not, but I do have this question. My husband was discharged from the hospital into a quote unquote high-end rehab within a senior living community, Admiral at the Lake of Chicago. It's very expensive to be in there. It's very expensive to live in there. Nonetheless, I was because I had to be sequestered with him in the nursing home side of it because he was a fall risk. They allowed me to go down to the restaurant to get something to eat. They have to, when you tour the place, and I had toured it previously for another reason with him, for him. When you tour the place, they point out that they have these 2 restaurants, they have all these activities, yada yada yada. However, being in there, I was very disappointed to see that the 2 restaurants are all, they serve the exact same food. The only difference is one of them you can sit down and be served, and the other one is more casual. You can take it to your table with your little coffee clutch, or you can take it to your room. The food was served in disposable containers. You know, and I thought these people are paying $8,000 a month, and there's really not 2 restaurants. There's really only one kitchen that's serving the same food for both restaurants. Um, the activities seem to be nice, but they're kind of repetitive from week to week. You know, the only thing that was super impressive was the library. Man, I could have bunked out in that library forever. But I was like, man, how can you sell people this when you yourself are no longer impressed with it because you see the inside of it and it's not what it appears when you get the tour at all. Because when they said these two restaurants, this one faces the lake, and it does, got beautiful lake views. You're thinking two restaurants, two different menus. No, 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 no. That's not it at all. But I stopped a woman that lives there that used to live in a building where I live right now. And I'm like, hey Marta, how do you like being here? Oh, I just love it. And I'm like, okay, well, then, because she's on the independent living side.
Yeah.
Uh, and on the nursing home side where you deteriorate, so they move you to the nursing home floors. The CNAs apparently they get paid, they have benefits, etc. But they're almost no different than being in any other nursing home. If a patient has to be changed and they're clocking out, that patient's going to wait. I was just so disappointed with everything that I saw, given the reputation that this place has and the expense, and that it is cited as one of the most expensive, best places to be in Chicago. And so now I have this disconnect between referring it because I know what really goes on in there, and not referring it, but comparing that against Marta's um, enthusiastic loving it, and seeing that these groups of people, and because one day I literally said to myself, you know what they like? They like the socialization.
They do. The socialization is huge. Now, those are all great points that you should bring up to the administrator, the executive director, or the
Mhm.
sales director for that community, and let them know what your experience was, and let them and see what they say.
Mhm.
Because for you, as someone who can refer to them, it's important that they know that
Okay.
and see what they say.
It'll be interesting because I mean, even on the casual side, the casual, more casual restaurant, where the people they don't even have salt and pepper shakers on the table. You know, like one table
Ask
might have
why.
salt, one
Ask them
people,
why.
right? Okay, because
Yeah.
I was
Ask
so
ask why.
what?
Make a list of things that you observed and
Yeah,
ask them, "Hey, you have this prestigious reputation in the community,
yeah.
but these are some things that I noticed. Can you help shed some light on this for me?"
Okay, that's good. That's
And
cool.
like just ask the question. Um and this is feedback that I think most administrators and executive directors would love to hear. I think that's really important. Um and it happens very often, especially in the higher end communities. The independent living side is gorgeous and
Hmm.
they fall in love with it. And then when you go to assisted living, the rooms are really small. The common area spaces are really small and they really don't tour them that thoroughly. And then when they go into skilled nursing, it's a whole different ball game. And that is a common complaint within the industry. So it's great if you bring it up to their attention and see what they do and then follow up with them like 3 or 6 months later to say, hey, did you make any improvements to this?
Okay.
Because you're in the community, you're educating the community, and you're a referral person for them. So those are all good points. And these things do happen when you experience senior living communities at a very, very in depth level. You'll start seeing things. The biggest thing that I always tell my families is when you go through a senior living community, you got to look at the staff, you got to look them right in the eyes. That'll tell you everything you need to know. Are they happy? Do they look down? Do they not look at you? Do they not interact with you? Everything you need to know is right there. Are there scratches on the walls?
Mhm.
Are there rub marks from wheelchairs and walkers? Because in the state of Florida, that's a fine. That is a fine.
How
Are
would
there
you
holes
find
in
that
it?
out? So how would you find out that was a fine for in your state, in my
I
state?
was an administrator. I was an executive director.
Okay.
So this was some of the things that when the state comes to visit, if you don't have this knowledge, you're not going to know. So every single community senior living community does a survey. It's all public information. You can read it and you could see what the deficiencies are of that community, regardless of what their ranking is on Google. And it gives you kind of an underline of what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
And Frankie wrote, it's true, facilities subsidize or tax credit that are at max capacity. That's my struggle right now. As far as senior living communities, I have toured are at max capacity. Should I research the capacity rates before I network? Thoughts? You always need to ask that question when you call them. How's your census going? Census is a universal word that they're going to understand. So remember that. How is your census? What's your occupancy rate?
And when you first call, you're talking to the sales director?
Always the sales director. The ED is too busy. Trust it. Take it from me. Too busy. They're not going to take your call. So when you are talking to them, you're going to ask what their occupancy rate is, because it is going to help you figure out, should you just go to tour? Because I'm going to tell you, once they're at 100% occupancy, senior living is cyclical, just like everything else. People coming in will come out and vice versa. And it's like a roller coaster. I could be at 100% occupancy with a 16-person wait list, and in 6 months, I could be at 75% because all those people went somewhere else.
That begs the question in my mind. I thought I've had since actually getting into this is, with the number of people turning 65 every day, with their parents then looking to be an assisted living and independent living, etc. It seems to me that there's going to be a housing shortage in independent assisted living, etc. Because there's going to be too many people that need to get in there, and there's not enough facilities,
So remember something, don't get into the weeds on that. Right now, there are over 1.2 million licensed beds nationwide.
Okay.
There are more being built. Don't get into the weeds with that. Unfortunately, this is not your issue to worry about. We're not builders. We're not manufacturing senior living communities. They are building, like in my area, we're building 5 more that will be up and running in the next year. And our average for our market is around 75% occupancy. So what is census versus occupancy rate? Census is how many heads and beds that they have living in the community. Occupancy percentage is how many people occupy it. So this is just an industry related term that they're used to. So what's your occupancy rate? And they're going to say 75, 85, 90%, 60%. They're going to tell you. Then you're going to ask them to break that down. How is that for assisted living, memory care, or is it overall? This is important stuff that you got to know these terms. And this is why when you're all members, I have this broken down for you in a module that we have taught, about a year ago right now. Census is what the corporate office is going to say, what is your current census? So if my max capacity is 130 people, because census does not necessarily mean how many doors I have, because there could be a husband, wife living together, and they need to account for that for the state, because they have to have a license for how many people they could have in each room. So census is how many people I have living there right now. Occupancy rate is how many rooms are occupied, because there's 2 separate things.
Okay.
Want to make sure you're asking those questions, and go back and rewatch that video if you want a more in-depth, because we're gone over by 8 minutes already. But go back and rewatch the video, because it's important for you to understand this terminology. They're 2 different things. In memory care, a lot of times they allow 2 people to occupy a room as a semi-private to cut down on cost. They have to have a license for each of those people in order to be compliant with the state. So they can't cram 4 people in one room. So your census and your occupancy rate are 2 different, okay? So your occupancy rate is how many rooms are occupied. Your census is how many overall people live in that community. and it's people versus room. You're right, Sherry. This is just a glimpse of how my world has worked for a long time and how you in real estate can help them. So at the end of the day, when you're struggling a little bit, Frankie, about subsidized facilities, you need to ask them more about that, and you need to drill down on that, because subsidized communities from Medicaid, from state run, are typically at max capacity. And I typically have it's all market driven. In my market, we have a very small amount of subsidized communities from Medicaid. I'm not moving my clients into those Medicaid communities because they have money to spend down on from selling their long-time home. That increased 200, 250% from when they bought it. So we don't go to those communities until they're really, really low, because they are not very nice in our area. So we want them to
I know
have
you're over time, but I just want to say really quick, like I've called probably over 15 subsidized communities, and the lady that I'm helping, she doesn't want to sell her home. She wants to give it to her son. So she's using the income that she has now. So that's my struggle now. Like we're actually at a point where we're going to look at a reverse mortgage because we're not getting anywhere with the subsidized home. So
you
um,
and I don't mean to I'm just, for time's sake, I don't mean to cut you off. Before you even started calling those communities, because unfortunately you've wasted a lot of your time, you should have referred her to a Medicaid specialist who would be able to know exactly who is going to be able to help her within this area, and then how they can actually get her qualified for a subsidy with that house right now, and what they would need to do for the state to be compliant to get on Medicaid. And that is transfer the property to her son. And what does that look like? So as you are trying to help these people, this is what the Facebook group is for. Write down your questions, reach out to us to let us know. I've done this before, y'all, a few times. I can help you from spinning your wheels for hours to in 15 minutes, we got an answer for you. So when you're dealing with someone who has Medicaid requirements like that for subsidy, there's no other state subsidy. It's Medicaid. They need to qualify for Medicaid. If she doesn't qualify for Medicaid, it's not going to work. You're not the bad guy. The Medicaid specialist is. Because with that home, it's going to be really tough for her to
It
qualify
is.
right now.
It is.
So
It
you
is.
don't want to waste your time. Time is money. And right now you want to help everyone. And I love that. I love that about you, Frankie. You want to help her. But at the end of the day, are you doing this as a senior consultant position? Because I know we talked about that before. Or are you doing this as a real estate agent selling her home? Because I could only help so many of those people within my year, because it's mentally draining. We don't have social work training. So
okay.
it's mentally, and it will weigh you down. It'll keep you up at night. And the number one reason why I left working at a hospice after working there for a couple of years was it was mentally draining to me, even though I worked in the marketing and fundraising department. And I could not handle when they took in an infant on hospice.
Okay, so she needs to
So
reach out,
you need,
call
yeah,
a Medicaid specialist.
yes, and you
Okay,
need to have a Medicaid specialist qualify her before you even call anyone. Because now you don't know if you have the right community for her. Perhaps she doesn't need maybe she just needs independent living right now, low income, independent living. And they'll be able to tell you exactly who in your marketplace, because this is all they do. Who in your marketplace is you're going to get from, Googling and finding all these things down to like, these are the 5 that can help you right now. That's all they do. So I want to help you guys.
Will this call be posted on YouTube?
It's live on YouTube right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to rewatch. Okay, thank
All
you.
right. So I hope y'all found that helpful today.
I never look at YouTube. So on YouTube, it's the Productive Aging Collective on YouTube as well.
Yep. And
Okay.
all these calls are posted on there.
Okay.
They'll go right up. Now, when you're on the YouTube page, you're going to see the calls, and then there's a little button for live calls. And so sometimes you will see all of the videos when you go to live and vice versa, just as a little trick if you can't find it right away, because YouTube's got a weird way of doing things sometimes. But I hope y'all found this helpful. I want you to grow your business. Make sure that you are utilizing these next 4 weeks. You got 4 weeks right now between now and Christmas where, man, they're going to get flooded with people wanting to move in. You got to be top of mind. You could do it. I know you can. Well, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Thanks, Ronaldo. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate all of you. And we'll reconvene.
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to y'all soon.